Honored guests, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the singing of the first verse of the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The President of the University.
Hello, class of 2024. Mr. Rector, members of the Board of Visitors, students, colleagues, family, and friends, welcome to final exercises and a glorious day. My name is Jim Ryan, and in addition to being president of UVA, I am your host for today's ceremony, and I will also officially award the degrees. Today marks the end of the 195th academic session, and we are here to celebrate and confer degrees on students from the College and Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. You can applaud that. The School of Education and Human Development, and the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy. Among us this weekend are students who have worked extraordinarily hard and families who traveled very far to be here, and some who overcame enormous challenges. We have an international student, for example, who is seeing her family for the first time in 4 years. Another graduating student is celebrating with more than 35 family members, some from far away as Cameroon. Our oldest graduate is 71. And the youngest are 19. Many in this class are the first in their family to graduate from college. And many more are celebrating their first in-person graduation after missing out on high school graduation in 2020. All of these stories are important. All of your stories are important. And every graduate here has earned this moment of celebration, as have their families. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge graduating students who can't be here today, including members of our women's tennis team, women's golf team, men's lacrosse team, softball team, and women's rowing team, who are all competing this weekend. Go Hoos! I'd also like to offer some thanks. First, thanks to the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command Band from Fort Eustis, Virginia, which is performing our music today. And thanks as well to the members of our ROTC programs who presented the colors. I'd also like to offer a huge thanks to our talented staff who worked incredibly hard all year and then put in tremendous effort to make this ceremony special for all of you. They're worth clapping for. Particular thanks are due to Cecil Banks, our Director of Major Events, and his team. And I'd like to thank our outstanding faculty who have served not simply as teachers and colleagues, but also as mentors and friends. Please join me in giving them a huge round of applause. Congratulations and thanks to all of the parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles, family, and friends in the audience today. Together, you have supported our students, your students, in countless ways. You've helped pay tuition, you've offered encouragement, and you've cared for them and fed them when they're home on break. This has been a momentous but by no means easy journey for anyone, including all of you. Today is your day too, which is why I would like to ask all of our graduating students to stand, turn toward the audience, and give a round of applause to those who helped you on this journey. I'd like to take a moment to remember two students who should be here with us today, Lavelle Davis Jr. and Devin Chandler, who were killed in November 2022. Along with Deshaun Perry, who was a member of the class of 2023. All three were given posthumous degrees last year. We will never forget these talented and beloved teammates, classmates, friends, and family members. And I will never forget how this community came together to comfort each other as we grieved. All of you have my deepest gratitude and admiration for that. I'd also like to remember Tiffany Chin Loy, who's being honored with a posthumous Master of Teaching degree today from the School of Education and Human Development. And also Clarence Williams, who is being honored with a posthumous degree from the College of Arts and Sciences. They will all be remembered and honored by all whose lives they touched. Finally, I'd like to offer my sincere congratulations and gratitude to the incredibly talented and passionate class of 2024. You have had experiences like few others. Your time here, for many of you, began during the pandemic, and the months and years to follow could not have been entirely what you were expecting. These last couple of weeks have been challenging, and I know that May 4th in particular was a distressing and painful day for our community. But the grace and strength of your class has carried us through times of both joy and sorrow. And I hope you'll remember, especially after today, that there is joy to be found even in the rain. I know that without a doubt you have made this university a better place, and I am certain you will leave here to make the world a better place. So with that, let us begin this honorable and joyous ceremony through which we will welcome you into the worldwide community of University of Virginia graduates. Thank you.
The Rector of the University.
Good morning. What a beautiful day. On behalf of the Board of Visitors, I extend warm greetings and congratulations to all students, parents, faculty, staff, and colleagues at the University of Virginia. Before I introduce our speaker for this commencement, I would like to share some comments with our new graduates. As a first-generation college student and a triple who, I have experienced firsthand the value of an education from this amazing university. It changed my life. As rector of the Board of Visitors, I'm constantly reminded of another valuable lesson that I learned at UVA, the importance of assuming good intent. When you graduate from UVA, you will have great memories. We all remember our time on grounds with fondness and pride. You may even find yourself saying, well, when I was at UVA, and thinking things were better back then. It reminds me of the old joke. How many UVA graduates does it take to change a light bulb? Any idea? The answer is 2. One to change the bulb, and one to talk about how great the old light bulb was. Please remember, this great university is a living, breathing organism. Your time here was different than mine, and it will be different than the time of our incoming first-year class later this year. Yet some things will always remain part of the UVA DNA, providing a world-class educational experience, the extraordinary commitment to student self-governance and the honor system, the special relationship between our students and faculty, love of our athletic programs, and a special shout out to the women's swim dive team. Who won not only 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 consecutive national championships. And of course, this majestic and magnificent lawn designed by our founder, Thomas Jefferson. So as this graduation day fades into the background of your life, you can be proud of what you each have accomplished here and who you have become. And when, inevitably, you hear news about something happening on grounds, please start by assuming good intent. Also, come back and participate in defining the future of this university. You will always be welcome. I'd like to close by reading a passage from The Honor Men, written by Quarks and Curls editor James Hay Jr. in 1903. If you live a long time and, keeping the faith in all these things hour by hour, still see that the sun gilds your path with real gold and that the moon floats in dream silver, then, remembering the purple shadows of the lawn, the majesty of the colonnades, and the dream of your youth, you may say in reverence and thankfulness, I have worn the honors of honor. I graduated from Virginia. Congratulations and Godspeed. Wahoo-wah. I'm now most pleased to introduce our keynote speaker today, Professor of Psychology Daniel Willingham. Awesome. Okay. Professor Willingham took a BA in psychology from Duke and a PhD from Harvard University. He taught briefly at Williams College before joining the faculty of the University of Virginia in 1992. He has worked extensively in the field of educational methods and policies and has consulted with many educational agencies in countries across the globe and in the United States, where he is a member of the National Board for Education Sciences appointed by President Obama. Professor Willingham's writing and teaching focuses on the translation and dissemination to lay audiences of complex scientific ideas, particularly on how people learn. He has published several books on cognition and had articles published in numerous newspapers and magazines, including the New York Times and the Atlantic. Some titles include, There Are Better Ways to Study That Will Last You a Lifetime, and Math Anxiety, Can Teachers Help Students Reduce It? He was recognized for this work with the Outstanding Public Communication of Education Research Award from the American Educational Research Association. This is interesting. In 2022, he started a TikTok channel of videos to help students study more effectively. I need to watch that one. He has more than 135,000 followers and millions of views. A very popular lecturer, he has twice won the UVA All-University Teaching Award. Without further ado, I'd like to now welcome Professor Willingham.
Thank you, Rector Hardy, and good morning to all. Graduates, I've devoted my professional life to studying how people learn, so I thought I would share some thoughts on how you can keep learning after you leave the University of Virginia. Now, I expect your reaction to that is, right, lifelong learning. How nice. Listen, I don't need to be inspired about that. I'm already kind of on board with the idea of lifelong learning, so maybe another topic. And I understand that reaction. For everybody graduating today, learning's kind of your thing. You're all really good at it. But hear me out, because although you may not need inspiration for lifelong learning, I think you might need guidance. I predict that, say, 10 years from now, you won't feel like a lifelong learner. I think 10 years from now, if you're like most college graduates, you'll be saying, what happened to me? You know, I used to be kind of intellectual, like I was interested in stuff. Now, anything I learn is for my job. So that's a gloomy prediction, but here's why I make it. What learning means to you has been shaped by the way learning works in school. In school, you learn the stuff that somebody else has decided this is what's important for you to know. You pay attention to it even if you're not interested in it, and you continue to pay attention to it until you not just understand it, but until you've committed it to memory. That approach to learning makes sense for the type of things you need to learn during your school years. But after graduation, you shouldn't think that learning always means mastery and that learning always happens in a class. But because that's the way it's been for most of your life, that sense of learning is going to be really hard to shake. So, for example, 10 years from now, you might think, you know, I've always wished I could speak Italian. So what are you going to do? You're going to treat that like a class. You're going to download Duolingo. You're going to make your little plan of studying every day. But the truth is, you're going to be really busy, too. That's going to be hard to sustain. Every time you open your phone, that smug little owl is smiling at you. And so eventually you're going to delete the app. Or 10 years from now, you'll join a book club because you'll figure that'll kind of force me to read the books that everybody's talking about, like that new biography of Senator Miley Cyrus. But the book club is going to make you feel like you're right back in class at UVA because once again, you're sitting with a group of people you don't know very well, trying to think of something to say that sounds smart and won't reveal that you haven't done the reading. The problem is that many of you are going to be in demanding jobs. Many of you will have families, and learning the way you learn in school is also demanding. Something's got to give, and it's not going to be your job, and it's not going to be your family. To be successful in school, you had to trick your brain into learning in a way it didn't evolve to learn. That's why it felt so hard. As you move into this next phase of your life, I urge you to adopt an approach to learning that's less effortful because it's better tuned to the way the mind naturally learns. So what does that look like? A good guide is to observe children in preschool. Preschool teachers have to capitalize on this sort of natural learning because the kids aren't old enough to have learned how to do the unnatural type of learning yet. There are 4 characteristics of learning in preschool that I think are a useful guide for you for lifelong learning once you leave UVA. First, preschoolers don't study or commit things to memory, but preschoolers enjoy new experiences. They enjoy exploration. A preschool teacher might keep a lizard in a terrarium, not in the hopes that the kids are going to memorize lizard body parts, but in the hopes that kids will be excited simply to watch it and to ask questions. The innate drive to explore is something we share with many other species. Animals that have regular territories where they forage or hunt will skip a territory that they know generally pays off in order to have the opportunity to explore a new one. In lab experiments, humans do the same thing. They'll skip a known reward in order to explore something new. So what's the point of this innate curiosity? Well, that seems obvious. It's useful. There's an advantage to knowing about your environment. But there's a little more to it because we're not simply about collecting information about our environment. To give you a sense of this, play along with me for a moment. What would be your first thought in the following situation? You wake up, you go into the kitchen to see about breakfast, you open the refrigerator door, and you find a bowling ball. What's your first thought? If you're like most people, your first thought is some version of, who did this? Right? Now note, if you were just a collector of information about your environment, you would use this new fact, bowling ball in my fridge, to derive new conclusions about your environment. You could use deductive logic and say, that bowling ball must be cold. Or you could use inductive logic and say, I now know that refrigerator shelves are strong enough to hold a bowling ball. But most people don't do that. They want more information. They want information about causality. Humans aren't just collectors of facts about the environment. We want to understand our environment. So the first preschool principle for lifelong learning is that you should replace your very definition of learning. Don't think of learning as memorizing or mastering. Think of learning as exploring and understanding. Second principle. Preschoolers are curious, but their curiosity is very short-lived, and the same is true of adults. You have learned to maintain attention even when you're bored, and again, that's a valuable skill for certain types of learning, but it's not the brain's natural tendency. Curiosity is the brain's way of signaling to you, there's something cool out there, pay attention, you're going to learn something. But your brain only cares if the cool thing is out there right now. In other words, your long-term interests play no role in determining your curiosity. That's why you might take a subject that you know you're interested in, and yet somehow the professor makes it boring. You can tell your brain, no, hang in there, this is cool, we really like this, and your brain is still like, I'm dying here. Then on the other hand, a friend might persuade you to watch a documentary on something you think you have no interest in at all, say type fonts, and you find yourself fascinated. Almost all social media apps use the same strategy to deal with the tiny time window of curiosity. An algorithm selects what you're going to see next. Algorithm is really a fancy word for, well, you liked this before, here's some more of it. Or better put, here's some more of it, but we'll make it just different enough so that you have to watch to make sure, yep, that's the stuff I liked before. So naturally, after an hour of TikTok, you don't feel satisfied. Curiosity is meant to help you learn about and understand your environment, but the algorithm clickbaits your brain into seeing the same sort of thing over and over again. Preschools don't engage children by giving them the same stuff they've seen in the past. Instead, a preschool classroom has several work centers, leaving the children free to select whatever piques their curiosity. The teacher's happy for the child to select any of them because they're all enriching. This is a good strategy for you as a lifelong learner. You need to ensure that your internet foraging grounds lead to learning that actually feels like it paid off. So, always have books on your phone, both Kindle and audiobooks. Bookmark websites like JSTOR Daily and long reads in the New York Times. Put these apps front and center on your home screen and make TikTok and Instagram and the rest a little harder to access. The second principle for lifelong learning, then, is to curate your environment the way a preschool teacher curates the environment of the classroom. Surround yourself with novel, enriching, easy-to-access information. Third principle. Preschoolers are creatures of habit. Any parent will tell you, changing a child's routine, even in a way that seems trivial, is asking for trouble. I'm reminded of the time my oldest daughter, who was about 3 at the time, refused to take a bath because, quote, that water is too wet. that meant was there was more water in the tub than there usually was. Routines make for a predictable environment. That's comforting for a child. That's one reason preschool classrooms lean heavily on routine. But adults are fond of routines also, partly for comfort, but even more, we feel that our routines make our busy lives more manageable. Most people, when they start their first job, fall into a weekly routine of when to pay bills, when to do laundry, and so on. There's usually not much free time, so trying to shoehorn in a new activity, for example, practicing your Duolingo Italian each day, is likely to fail. Here's a better strategy. Don't add learning activities. Tweak old habits to make it more likely that you'll experience and understand new things while you're doing them. If you listen to a lot of music, try experimenting with different genres. If you have lunch with a friend every other week, try a restaurant with a cuisine that neither one of you know anything about. And wherever you find yourself, actually look around. I was at the University of Virginia for 10 years before I learned that buried not 100 yards from my office is an author whose 19th century book sales rivaled Webster's Dictionary and the Bible. I learned that when I was walking from my office to a meeting at the School of Education, and I decided to get off my usual path and walk through the cemetery. So the third preschool principle for lifelong learning is to avoid an ambitious life overhaul and instead increase your learning opportunities by tweaking your existing habits. Now the fourth and final principle. I frequently address groups of parents on the subject of education, and I'm often asked, how can I get my kids to love learning? I think that question needs to be rephrased to, how do you create a home where learning is a family value? If you want your children to love learning, you must show them that learning matters to you, which is not by the same way as showing them that grades matter to you. Children start to learn family values around preschool age. Before age 4 or 5, as far as kids are concerned, adults are more alike than they are different. They're slow moving, they get grouchy about things that don't really matter, they eat food that's just stupid, they're all kind of the same. Things change when a child visits a friend's house and they start to compare. And the child thinks, you know, I had dinner at Jim's house and we didn't finish our plates and we still got dessert. And it dawns on the child, my parents just made that rule up. It's not a law or anything. Parents create rules about things that matter to them. That's one of the ways they communicate values to their children. There was an unspoken rule when I was growing up that my parents would never interrupt me or my sisters if we were reading. Naturally, whenever my mother or father started thinking out loud about what chores needed doing, I ran and grabbed a book. I thought I was very clever. It was a number of years before I saw I was the one being played. Parents communicate values in many other ways. For example, every family has myths that are retold through generations. What are the themes of these stories we think are worthy of repetition? Every family has heroes. Who did your parents speak of with respect? What characteristics made someone worth emulating? Graduates, it may seem odd that I'm talking to you about family values now when many or most of you don't have families of your own. But if you're not a family already, you're about to become a nascent family of one. You will be the author of the values in this family. It's up to you to create an independent life that you feel is in accord with those values. The fourth preschool principle for lifelong learning is to make small but intentional choices that show you hold learning as a family value. That means it's not an activity that you try and make time for. As a value, it's shot through your daily life and touches everything. Decisions you make, your relationships, how you see the world. One of the things that makes the University of Virginia so special is that you're surrounded by faculty, administration, staff, and fellow students for whom learning is a treasured value. That shared value makes for a very supportive environment. It's easy to be a learner here. Lifelong learning outside the university will prove more challenging, but I'm confident that your experiences here have provided the foundation you need to continue learning for a lifetime. but maybe think about that tomorrow. Today, celebrate your achievements with your loved ones and accept my warmest congratulations and best wishes for the future, class of 2024.
The President of the University.
Thank you, Dan, for those inspiring remarks. I don't know about you, but I'm eager to go home and check out what's in my refrigerator. Today's graduating students have chosen to study the arts and sciences, education and human development, and public policy. In doing so, they have reaffirmed their commitment to discovering truth, inspiring the next generation, and leading with conviction and compassion. They leave here prepared to be citizen leaders in a world that desperately needs them. Some of today's graduating students have earned further distinction by completing their degrees early. 159 students from the College of Arts and Sciences and the School of Education and Human Development earned their baccalaureate degrees in 2 years or less, and 9 more students did so in only 2 years. In recognition of their effort and as a symbol of their achievement, these students are wearing orange stoles today. And will those of you who are graduating early please stand so we can give you a well-earned round of applause. I would also like to recognize the 650 students who are the first in their families to graduate from college this weekend. As a first-generation student myself, I greatly admire your accomplishments, and I know your families do as well. All of today's degree candidates are listed in the digital program, including those who completed the requirements for the degrees in December or last August. Today, we will award 2,947 baccalaureate degrees, 1,013 graduate degrees, including 763 master's degrees, 24 education specialist degrees, and 226 doctoral degrees. And now for what you've all been waiting for. The deans will now present the candidates for degrees. Under authority vested in the general faculty and delegated to me, I will then award the degrees.
The Executive Vice President and Provost of the University.
I have a lengthy speech. The Dean of the College and Graduate School of Arts and Sciences.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I welcome you to the ancient and universal company of scholars. Congratulations.
The Doctors of Philosophy will please be seated. The candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts, or Master of Science will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts, or Master of Science.
I confer upon you the appropriate master's degree with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I charge you to apply the knowledge you have gained in ways that advance the social good and promote humane values. Congratulations.
The Masters of Fine Arts, Masters of Arts, and Masters of Science will please be seated. The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in the College of Arts and Sciences will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in the College of Arts and Sciences.
It sounds like you're ready. I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging, and welcome you to the fellowship of educated women and men. I charge you to pursue truth in all of your endeavors and to apply the principles of rigorous inquiry and civil discourse in your professions, in your lives as public citizens, and in your engagement with the cultures in which you will live. Congratulations.
The Bachelors of Arts and Bachelors of Science will please be seated.
The Dean of the School of Education and Human Development.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, Doctor of Education, or Education Specialist will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the School of Education and Human Development, Doctor of Education, or Education Specialist.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Education, or Education Specialist, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. And I charge you to pursue research that will support teachers' work and advance student learning in the nation's schools and colleges and universities. Congratulations.
The Doctors of Philosophy, Doctors of Education, and Education Specialists, please be seated. The candidates for the degree of Master of Education, Master of Science in the School of Education and Human Development, or Master of Teaching will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Education, Master of Science, or Master of Teaching.
I confer upon you the degree of Master of Education, Master of Science, or Master of Teaching, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging, and charge you to be creative in stimulating learning and in conveying to your students the responsibilities that belong to educated citizens in a free nation. Congratulations.
The Masters of Education, Masters of Science, and Masters of Teaching will please be seated. The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in the School of Education and Human Development will rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Education and Human Development.
I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Science, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. And I charge you to use your knowledge, skills, and compassion to enrich the lives of the people whom you will serve in your professions. Congratulations.
The Bachelors of Science will please be seated.
The Dean of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy,
the candidates. The candidates for the degree of Master of Public Policy will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Public Policy.
I confer upon you the degree of Master of Public Policy with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging, and charge you to use your new knowledge and skills to provide strong leadership in the careers and communities you enter, and to craft wise, morally sound, and well-informed roadmaps for our republic and the greater global community. Congratulations.
The Masters of Public Policy will please be seated. The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy.
I confer upon you the Bachelor of Arts, the degree of Bachelor of Arts, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging, and encourage you to use what you have learned here to serve our nation and the world through your work in government, education, nonprofit, and private sectors. Congratulations.
The Bachelors of Arts will please be seated.
The Chair of the University of Virginia Alumni Association Board of Managers.
Good morning, class of 2024. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Congratulations to your families as well. You all earned this big day. On behalf of the UVA Alumni Association, I am honored to officially welcome you to the alumni family. You are now part of a vibrant community of more than 270,000 alumni living all over the world. Since 1838, the association has worked to build strong bonds between alumni and also between alumni and our university. And at its core, the association is all about connecting, informing, serving, celebrating, and investing in you and our university. And of the alums in the crowd who have attended our class reunions, young alumni reunions, Black Alumni Weekend, or Juntos, I know you can attest to the fact that we, like the class of 2024 is showing here this weekend, that we are very good at the celebrating part of our mission. And talking about celebrating, you are here today with classmates who will be your lifelong friends. I heard it mentioned yesterday at the valedictory exercises, forever friends. I think that's a good way to describe it as well. But I can tell you from experience that your ties to the university are only going to increase over time. And I'm going to make a bold prediction to you. You are going to have a fellow alumni who you don't know right now impact your life in some meaningful way going forward. Trust me, it'll happen. And I know it's happened to me. As just one example, when I interviewed at my law firm in Washington, D.C., a UVA alum was on the interview panel, and we had an instant connection. Now, 16 years later, I'm at the same firm, and we're law partners. But this just doesn't flow one way. I also predict you're going to have the chance to lend a helping hand to a fellow who in the future. And I know you'll do that. It really does mean a lot. When a student or a young alum touches base with you, and you respond to them, you take the time to talk to them, you mentor them, and that's going to happen. And I can, trust me, when you're at your job and you have a student reach out to you down the line, it's going to be the best part of your day. And I know you'll talk to them, and UVA alums do that all the time. So as life takes its inevitable twists and turns, I hope you'll remember that the Alumni Association is here to welcome you and support you wherever you are and whatever path you're on. I hope this next chapter of your life will bring you success and fulfillment. I hope you'll go out and explore all the world has to offer. And I hope you'll always find your way back home to UVA. On behalf of the Association's Board of Managers, our team at Alumni Hall, and the entire UVA alumni family, congratulations, welcome, and wahoo wah.
The President of the University.
All right, this is it. So first, thank you, Kenan. We are fortunate, as many of you know, to have a strong and tight-knit community of alumni whose time on grounds shaped their lives. And I'm grateful to so many of those alumni who have done so much to give others the same experience. Those of you who graduate today have benefited from the generosity of alumni, parents, and friends in ways large and small. And I'd like to thank all of you who have joined this tradition through your class gift. I'd also like to say a final thank you to our Grand Marshal, Professor Beth Meyer, and to all of today's speakers and performers. I recognize I am now the only one between your friends and families and more celebrations, so my parting gift is I will be very brief. But before I say farewell to this special class, I'd like to leave you with one simple request, which is to carry this place and this community with you. I'd ask that you remember the feeling of being here in this place with these people and carry it with you. Carry with you what it felt like to be surrounded by a group of fellow students who were as compassionate as they were talented. Carry with you what it felt like to learn from professors who loved a subject so much you couldn't help but get excited about it too. Carry with you what it felt like to live with your friends and carry the knowledge that they will travel the road ahead with you. Carry with you what it felt like to build bridges and get to know someone different and how that ended up changing you. Carry with you how it felt to serve others and the satisfaction that came from devoting your time and energy to something bigger than yourself. Carry with you how it felt to be part of a community that experienced both great sorrow and great joy together. Carry with you what it felt like to support a friend or classmate who was struggling. Carry with you what it felt like to live in a community of trust and continue to live your life with integrity and honor. And carry with you the memory of this day, of walking the lawn, and of being together. If you remember all of this, I have no doubt you will carry the very best of this place with you as you face, with courage and purpose, the beautiful, joyous, challenging, sometimes tragic, and always surprising road ahead. And should that road ever lead you back to Charlottesville, and I hope it will, please know that we will leave the lights on for you. Congratulations, class of 2024, and good luck.
School and department graduation ceremonies that are scheduled for this morning and afternoon will take place at the inclement weather locations. Those times and locations can be found in your program. The ceremonies will begin after the graduates and their guests have had ample time to reach the ceremony locations. Graduates and guests, please rise for the singing of the good old song.